When they landed here at the market, this was where they were properly fed. Broken bottles and shaving them. A device called a speculum oris is put it into their mouth, open their mouth, count their teeth, and forecast their ages. Before they were made to walk to the river in order for them to take their last bath. At the riverside, they went through their first ever auction and they went through their first ever branding. Those that were not able to continue with the journey were those that remained on this land.
Here at the Assin Manso slave market. It used to be a slave market though, and this is also where the slaves actually had their last bath before they were shipped. I know that here at Assin Manso in the central region of Ghana, a few distance away from Assin before you get here. So we came here just to see the river that the slaves had their last bath before they were shipped and all that. And this is actually the outside of it, and at the outside there are some inscriptions and some drawings to depict what actually happened during the slave time. It is believed that the slavery stopped about some 400 years ago, but we still have history about it, monuments over here to show you, to prove evidence of what was actually done to black people here in Africa before they were shipped to wherever they had to go. So here is Assin Manso, and this is the location. Hello guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. If it's the first time being here, subscribe to the channel, like the video and share it as well. On this journey to Assin Manso was a life-changing journey, a journey of emotions and self-discovery, and not for only me but for my frat brothers who came all the way from the United States of America to celebrate our 5 years anniversary of chartering in Ghana. I mean the Ghana segments of the Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated. Being African Americans and Ghana being one of the major points of slavery with majority of infrastructure, it was necessary to take them to these locations for them to see how slavery took effect in Africa. And before we made our journey to Assin Manso, we made a stop at the Cape Coast Castle, one of the biggest slave castles in Africa, which was being managed by the British, and also Christianborg Castle in Osu in Accra, the headquarters of the British government when they were ruling Ghana. And finally, we are here at Assin Manso, a journey which took us about 3.5 hours from the capital of Ghana, Accra. And this is where we met our tour guide who gave us the gist and the history about Ancestral Slave River and the Assin Manso itself.
Now, during the discourse of the slave trade, many of us knows about the slave dungeons because that is where many historians do write about. But many also didn't know that slave markets also existed. Now, according to one Ghanaian historian, in the person of Professor Akosia Adoma Pebi, in a book entitled The History of the Indigenous Slavery in Ghana from the 15th century to the 19th century, she made mention that Ghana had 63 slave markets. 57 of this markets was managed by the Europeans. She gave names of few markets like Bonomanso, Jinijini, Sampa, Pichiman, Salaga, but of all these markets, she made emphasis on 2 markets to have played the most important role. She spoke about the largest market in West Africa, and she spoke about the busiest market in West Africa. Both the largest and the busiest could all be found in Ghana. According
to the tour guide, this was also a slave market where slaves were being sold, were being traded and all that. And not only that, they also had their last battle over here, like it was being said earlier. But when you come here, there are so many interesting stuff that you're gonna see apart from the river. You know, there are some pictures of some activists and some great African Americans who took the mantle to liberate black people from slavery, and not only to liberate them from slavery, but to also fight for justice, civil rights, and so many other things. Like we have Martin Luther King, Harriet Tubman, we have Bobby Du Bois, Frederick Douglass, Booker T, Malcolm X, Marcus Garvey, Kwame Nkrumah, and all that. He liberated Ghana from the shackles of the British. So these are some of the nice things that you get to see when you are here at Assin Manso, where the slaves actually had their last bath. And now we make our way to the historic Assin Manso Slave River. So still at Assin Manso, as you can see, this is where the slaves had their last bath before they were shipped to the Americas, to the Caribbeans, and wherever they had to be shipped to. And this is what signifies where they had to pass through here, down to the side over there. This is the path. As you can see, this is the path over here. It leads down there. And that's where they had their bath. According to the information we had, the level of the water is actually due to the dry season Ghana is experiencing. But when we get to the rainy season or the wet season, the river fills to the brim.
That is the level of the river. First branding took place. So this was where mothers never saw their children again. This was where brothers never met their sisters again. This was where one brother was taken to Fort Amsterdam and one brother was taken to Elmina dungeons. And they make sure these two never cross path. This was where it all happened. The land has cried for so many years. That is why this place even looks very peaceful. Because if the trees are ready to tell us what they saw, none of us can even stand on this land. The land does not want to speak. And the rivers are not speaking either. So immediately you are in here, you are already covered. And many were captured from the interior and they never knew how to swim. So just imagine. Today, for some, it is an educational trip. For some, it is a spiritual trip. That is why, whatever you want to do, you can touch the river. And whatever you want to say, just listen to your intuition. And after that, we are going to go back.
Okay, this a moment right now, experiencing with my frat brothers here in Ghana, was probably one of the most educating, emotional moments that I could say in my life coming down here to this river, the Slave River. One of my brothers admitted that he shedded some tears. The young ladies and young men that were with us from school, looks like the junior high school was with us, which made it even more special because they're going to be our future. This was something that I would advise anyone that comes visit Africa to Ghana, particularly just Ghana, because what I learned today is that this was probably one of the main locations where they left from as the exit out, even though Nigeria, I think, was told to us to be the main port. So this is something you need to experience. And I tell you, man, nothing like I'm telling you. Love you.
This is a very life-changing situation here. You get a chance to see where we came from, where we went, how we came back to also develop not only our country, but this country to keep it going. Very life-changing. You know, your spirit. If your spirit don't move you, then you're not a part of us.